and as soon as you introduce a third option, your brain immediately starts thinking of options instead of just like everything or nothing.
Yes.
And then as soon as you open that, then it becomes far less of like I'm in trouble, and some, it's not life or death. You're able to actually see what's really going on and make a good decision.
Hey guys, it's Sam Young here, and here today I'm with Matthew Timms, co-founder of Squaredology. Matt and his team specialize in helping businesses scale by using the power of Facebook. In my opinion, they do everything right. They help businesses attract their dream customers and make them fall in love with their brand by building trust and rapport. Then they turn these ecstatic new fans into paying customers. Ladies and gentlemen, Matthew Timms. Matt, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing super good. Thanks for having me here. Really excited to be here.
Of course. I haven't even met Matt before. This is the first time we're meeting. But it seems that we kind of work in a similar field. We both are doing marketing and utilizing Facebook. But you know what? How about you tell us a bit about you, Matt, and what exactly you do?
How far? So right now, I own a digital agency, co-own a digital agency, and a lot of what we do centralizes around Facebook ads. In terms of markets, we do kind of a mixture of kind of more upscaled e-commerce stores and some lead gen, and then some branding campaigns as well. Mm-hmm. And then, so we do a lot of Facebook ads. We do a little bit of organic social media. Most of that practically just looks more like collaboration with clients, oversight. I just think in today's world, it's so hard to be hands off on organic social for a business.
Yeah.
Where we've kind of just set it up where it's like, hey, you still need to be the brand. You need to get in front of the camera. We're just going to make sure you're doing it the right way. And so we do a little bit of that. And then we do actually a good amount of marketing automation as well. So building out CRMs, back-end automation, just kind of the whole mixture of things. And so that's kind of what we're doing now.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like how you said, they still have to be the brand, get in front of the camera. Like so many of my clients I work with, they're like, oh, they always say, I don't want to go in front of the camera. But once they do, they always get amazing results when they do that. So you started running Facebook ads in 2011. That's way ahead. Like I think I started maybe 2 years ago. 2011 is right at the beginning. So what got you into it, and how did you see the opportunity when everyone was kind of sleeping on it?
Yeah, so I don't, just to clarify, I'm not sure if I actually started Facebook ads in 2011.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember when Facebook ads came out. If they were, whenever they were, I was early on. It probably might have been shortly after that. Yeah. But so what happened is I went to school for music education.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so I was doing, around that time, I was doing kind of 3 different things. I was doing some work in churches, leading worship, and then I was teaching a lot of music lessons and whatever else. And so I was music and worship and teaching, and so I was doing all of those things. And when I was coming out of college, I just knew personally I wasn't really interested in living in a broke career, and which is literally all of those. And so what I did is, at the time, I opened a music store. Lots of lessons, like right out of school, lots of lessons. I turned down multiple teaching jobs because I was like, I'm all cool. Band directors, love you guys, do your thing. It consumes your life. And for me, I was like, I know that's not the only thing I'm passionate about. So I just started teaching music lessons. I was writing some stuff. I was doing clinics for schools and just kind of the whole smattering of things. And so as soon as I got out of school, I had to figure out how to get students and how to get customers. And so like you said, that was kind of like 2011, 2012, roughly in there. And so I just had to dive in. I had no clue about hiring people to build websites. It wasn't even on my mind. I didn't come out of the business sector. I wasn't a marketer per se. I was like just solving my own problem. I have to figure out how to get people into my business because I have to pay rent.
Yeah.
So I did it. I was like searching on like podcasts or blogs or anything I could find. And so for me, some of the big influencers at the time, I really latched on to a lot of Pat Flynn with Smart Passive Income, as well as John Lee Dumas with Entrepreneur on Fire back then. And so I just followed all their leadings. And so I started doing SEO. I started building my own WordPress sites and getting into social media. I remember when Facebook first made the shift to having business pages.
Oh, yeah.
It was great because you could crush it. You could throw up a picture of a potato and you'd get great reach because they wanted people just want businesses on the platform as businesses. Because businesses would make a personal profile, so you'd be like the friend of somebody, and so they moved everybody over. And I remember when Instagram first came out, that people were all confused by that, and then I just watched the trends of Facebook, go from 90% to 70% reach, and everybody freaked out, and 70 to 40, and now I'm like, people say 2-3%, and I'm like, that's only if you're bad at what you're doing.
Yeah, and that's the average too. So there is quite a few.
Yeah, so I'm kind of like, that's where I started, is a local music store. I started a business, and I had to figure out how to get people in. For me, all I knew how to do was be an artist and be an educator. And so that's just the type of content I put out, is teaching people and educating them and informing them on what I do, my process. At the time, I didn't have any idea of like selling information or information products. It just wasn't even a paradigm of mine.
Yeah.
So all I did is I just put it out there, and I said, I'm just going to give you all this information for free, teach you everything I know, give you all the insights, the good and the bad, just help you move along this process of either becoming a better musician or finding the right equipment, whatever it is. And, now people are, sometimes hesitant about putting information out because they're scared. It's like, if you put it all out, what are you going to sell? And for me, it just wasn't a question. I just put it out there. I'm like, if you want lessons, great. If you don't, here's some awesome stuff anyways. And it absolutely crushed. And now people call it education marketing and authority building. And I'm like, I'm just a music teacher. That's all I know how to do. And, but it worked. It worked super great. I filled up my lesson studio, expanded into retail, expanded into kind of a retail store there, and then eventually brought on some sales staff and teachers, and kind of had my own operation. And then 2015-ish, my, at the time, girlfriend, soon to be fiance, got into pharmacy school up in northern Minnesota. And so I knew I was going to be getting married and moving and all that stuff. So I was already helping some businesses on the side. I just figure out what to do online. And so there's just a natural progression. I started finding some bigger clients to work with, and just started moving from a consulting or helping on the side to a done for you model, kind of around 2015 before moving up here. And so that's kind of when I started going all in more on the service side of things. And then over the years, it's really condensed, but over the years, we've all seen the trends of people teaching marketing as like a business opportunity or a way to escape your 9-to-5. And I'm absolutely all about that. Like, if you want to learn marketing and become a social media manager or become a Facebook ads expert, because that really fits you better than any day job does, like, absolutely go for it. But for me, what was happening is there came this big wave of people saying, like, you can be the digital nomad. All you got to do is charge thousands of dollars to all these people, and you don't have to do anything. You don't even have to know how to run a business. You just throw up an ad and you can charge bank. And it really irritated me at the time, because I was like, that's stupid. It's a disservice. What you're teaching people, or what's being taught as a whole, it's not actually helping a business grow. Yes, you're pushing sales. Yes, it is helping. But if you're really helping a business grow, I know this is kind of a broad generalization, you're not going to do it in a way where as soon as you turn off your marketing, the business loses all sales, which is what a lot of, just like, if all you're doing is doing a discount ad, it's really a discount or it's really a disservice to the business. All you're doing is getting a big stream of customers that want a discount. And so I was just like, there's a better way to do it. And that's when I started putting out resources and just trying to be a voice in the marketing community of somebody who, like, I didn't go through marketing school or have big mentors or big courses or whatever. I just had a actual business and actually stayed on top of all the social media and website and online marketing that I had to, from the point of actually using it to grow a successful business and actually helping other businesses do that. So for me, I was just like, let me be a voice of reason when everybody's just teaching it as you don't have to care about your client. You just have to charge a lot. You don't have to talk to them, hands off type of deal. And, so that's when I just started putting out resources and getting connected and just becoming a voice in the marketing community. And then it's just kind of been all a mixture of agency and entrepreneurship since then. So
that's really cool. I actually went to school for audio engineering. I had the same realization. I was just like, oh man, I can't make any money if I want to be a musician. So I was like, well, what else do I like? And it was marketing is what I found. I love marketing, to be honest. And I do agree with you too. Like there's a lot of gurus out there that are going to just sell the dream. You just set up an ad, you'll just do the lead generation part. I personally use that as kind of getting a foot in the door, because that's, there's a lot of businesses out there, especially I find with real estate, is like, that's what they want. So you kind of have to give them what they want, and then you can teach them what they actually need. And like a big thing what I'm doing right now is teaching people how to build like their Facebook groups and stuff. Like, take these customers, move them over here, and then you don't even really need the ads once you got the Facebook groups and an engaged audience, right? It's building because engagement nowadays has dropped. So it's like, but there are people who still get really great engagement.
Yeah, and just to clarify, I think front end lead gen, I think it's absolutely important. I think the biggest issue for most small businesses is sales and new customers.
Yeah.
So I'm in no way saying that businesses shouldn't be doing that. I just know if that's all you're doing, you're not truly marketing the business.
Yeah, I agree. It's more like step one. It's easier to make money off of clients that love your product, have been around for a while, and it's cheaper to market to them versus than always just trying to get new people, And you can't say you really care about your customers if you're always focused on just getting that new client, only doing the discounts for the new clients and stuff. You eventually have a client base is just saying like, well, what about us? We're the ones who are your biggest fans.
Yeah, and I'm like, nobody's going to remember in 3 years. They're not going to come back if it's a real estate agent or a dentist or whatever. They're not, in 3 years, they're not going to go, oh, yeah, I'm going to go back to that dude I got that discount from. They're going to go back to the guy that they love and who treats them well and who has a great reputation in the community. And, so to do one, obviously, people need a reason to actually change. And that's what discounts do, just marketing talk, right? But discount, it gets somebody to actually take action and move in a course of change that they might never have taken before. They may have never explored a new dentist or any new business if they didn't see that discount. But that's not what keeps them around for years, and that's not what really truly grows a business with a long-term mentality. So it's definitely having all the pieces in the puzzle, and I just think that's the right way to do it. So
yeah, I totally agree. Like the lead generation is basically, in my opinion, is like the opportunity to bring in the new clients to show people how awesome that person's business is, how awesome they are. Before we turn on the cameras, we're saying like, clients still have to put themselves out there because they are the brand.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, it's not possible to market without involvement from a person in the business. So totally.
Yeah. Well, switching gears a little bit here. If I'm not mistaken, there's actually another Matt. Is he the co-founder of Squaredology?
Yep, he sure is. Yeah. Did you have another question with that, or?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, how did you and Matt like decide on becoming business partners? Because for me, I'm doing this solo, but I don't know. Do you guys build off your strengths and weaknesses, or are you guys just good buddies and like working together?
Yeah, it's funny. We met online.
Oh yeah,
It's funny. So it's interesting because I've um, every business book and every mentor that I've followed, especially when I was trying to figure out myself as a business person and kind of start to recognize like business is a thing to learn and entrepreneurship and marketing. And once I started moving into that, most people always advised that like partnerships don't work, that they will sink. There needs to be somebody in charge at all times,
hmm
and that just straight up partnerships are not the way to go. That you can incentivize involvement a lot of other ways, but to never do that. And so that's the belief I've always held, and I would still say that's true with exceptions.
yeah,
And so if I was just going to give blanket advice, I would still say start flying solo and lean on that. But for us, we met, let's see, what year is it? 2019. So we would have met, we connected the summer of 2017 in, I believe it was Julie Stoyan's Facebook group. And that was around the time I was like kind of in the middle of just starting to put more content out. I don't want to say become an influencer because I really have no desire to have a course or coaching programs or whatever.
yeah.
Uh, but I was just putting more resources out and becoming available and helping people when I could. And so I just put a little thing in one of the promo threads that a lot of groups have, like a consulting session or you need something to bounce ideas off. I know I'm really good at that and kind of just rolling with things. And he was somebody who jumped on. He was trying to do some different projects. He was working his way out, working on exiting in his previous company, and was just like, I don't know this guy, but why not? Never hurts to have extra set of ears. So we got on a call and just kind of threw some ideas around, and he was getting some feedback. Loved my feedback, and I think we just kind of connected. Like we're both high level thinkers. And then it was just a dialogue back and forth, did many projects here and there. And so from there, I think it was probably July, August of 2017, all the way until probably January-ish of 2018. We were just back and forth. We did little mini projects here and there, and just kind of kept a good line of communication. And I think we both slowly started realizing that we were very much on the same page. Like we had the same approach to running business. We had the same approach to marketing. We had the same approach to people and sales. Like our philosophy of everything was almost identical, and our strengths were highly complementary and overlapped a little bit. And it was super funny from the point of that when we met in 2017, we had literally the same journeys until
Oh
we shut
yeah,
it all down. We both started Facebook groups and had a couple thousand people in there by the time we combined things. We both launched software products. We both launched mini agency, like just all the exact same things that we did
that's really cool.
two separately. And then in January, we start talking like, we keep saying we should do projects together. Let's sit down and see what it would look like to actually do something together. And so from then, for me, it was, and I think this is why it works out. We were able to sit down and say, he's from Ohio, and so he flew up to northern Minnesota, and we just had a good sit down, actually get to know each other in person, and what we decided, I think this is why it still works, is we got to know each other a lot, and ultimately we said yes to like doing business together before we actually knew what we were going to do. I tend to be more on the creative side of things, more like marketing, strategy, macro type of stuff. He tends to be more of an analytical. He's more SEO historically. SEO, conversion, lead gen has kind of been his jam for a long time. I'm more social media, organic engagement, Facebook ads, branding, that sort of stuff. But we've got enough overlap in just how we approach things where we were like, we can make a killer combination. I don't know what we're going to do, but we work together super good. So let's do something. And so we did. And we've had way too many businesses since then. But it was like, we were just trying to figure out what we were doing.
Yeah.
We were like, for us, it was like, we complement each other so well. I don't want to say I'm married to him, but it really is the same thing. It's like we're sitting here going, we gel so well, we need to do something. And when we figure out what that is, we're going to crush. But it was really like a yes to the relationship before it was a yes to this thing. I think the reason so many partnerships fail is they go, I have the software idea and I can market. I need to go find somebody who can develop it. And it tends to be more skills-based, or it tends to be more tactics, or fill a hole, and then you give somebody ownership because you don't know how to leverage anything else. And then when it's not built on an actual good, healthy business relationship, it's built on what task did you do instead of the value in the relationship. I think that's actually why most partnerships fail. And so what happened is we were doing a lot of things. We did information business. We did some information products, some courses. We did a lot in messenger bots and chat bots. Most of the ManyChat Facebook group knows who I am from from a few months there, where we were just like, we're going to be bot people. We had a brand called Botpreneur and automation. We were just doing everything, teaching a lot of stuff. And for us, what we realized is that we're both a mix of entrepreneur and marketer. And so we kind of started our own actual, I don't want to say people who sell courses aren't actual businesses, but we started more of businesses where we're not just teaching marketers how to market, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so we started, we have a business in real estate, focusing on a certain vertical within that. And then we've got a couple other projects we're doing. And then ultimately we've got our agency as well, Squareology. And then, we tried other things, and then we realized we've got a couple software projects. But we were like, I think our biggest strength is really A, having our own projects, but B, actually being an agency for other businesses as well. And so that's kind of ultimately what we've landed on.
That's really cool. I really like how you guys kind of went about it. You didn't just dive in with a crazy $1 million get rich quick scheme. It was just here and there working on some projects, then just being like, hey, we work better when we are working together. What can we do? And then set it, built up that the business around that. And it's kind of important, going back to what we were just talking about before, building solid relationships, whether if it's the people you work with or your clients, it's super important. Everything flows so much better when you can set that up right.
Yeah, it's all relationships, and the quicker you realize that, the longer you're going to be around. So
I totally agree. So when the going gets tough, things aren't necessarily working out the way. Maybe it's ClickFunnels decides it's not going to work. Oh, I don't know if you use funnels, but messenger bots, there's a good one. Messenger bots are crashing all the time, not working. How many times, once a month, you'll see everybody freaking out, is ManyChat down? But when the going gets tough in business, do you have any strategies in place, how you manage it, the stress, the problems, and how do you get over the hurdles?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's, for me, it's separating the emotions from the decision. And a lot of times we tend to freak out and shock. Most decisions don't actually need to be made instantly. If a chatbot goes down, you don't actually have to make a decision within 30 seconds, which most people rush instead of stepping back and saying, what's the actual situation? What are some actual numbers? So for us, we have regular weekly meetings, and we're really intentional about what data we're collecting around KPIs around all of our businesses.
Yeah.
And so when something gets tough, it's you can never remove emotions from a decision-making process, but It's also just understanding what's actually going on. Most of the times when things are rough, there's usually always another option that you're just not considering. And so for me, step one is like, let's actually get a real picture of what's happening. Let's take a step back. Is there actually anything on fire? Or is it like ClickFunnels down or chatbots down and we can say, all right, it's down. Let's pause for a second. Great. What's actually affected? Is there anything we need to shut off right away? Is there anything we don't? Just figuring out what's actually going on. And one of my biggest tricks personally for even problem solving, especially when things are rough, is I don't remember exactly where I heard this. I don't think I made it up, but for me, it's like whenever you can. Our default is always like A or B.
Yeah.
Humans, we're very simple on it, so we see an option, and when things get tough, we say, "This is how I should react." And when you give yourself a choice, you usually say, "Either I'm going to shut all my ads off, or I'm going to leave them running." ClickFunnels is down. Should I kill everything, or should I leave it on? Or chatbots down, everything or not? And one thing that's a really great trick is if you force yourself to figure out a third option to introduce into that decision, then your brain is automatically going to go more into creative problem solving than it would have just being binary. Because if you just say, leave ads on, turn ads off, what's your choice? If you actually sit down and go, what's a third option? I don't know what a third option is. Is it if it's a chatbot scenario, can we leave ads on but have somebody manually be following up until the bot starts working again? And as soon as you introduce a third option, your brain immediately starts thinking of options instead of just like everything or nothing.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you open that, then it becomes far less of like I'm in trouble, and it's not life or death. You're able to actually see what's really going on and make a good decision and separate yourself from the scenario. Ads are down, you're not dead.
Yeah.
Ads are down, your bot's down, or ClickFunnels page is down. Your health isn't threatened. You didn't mess anything up, but you're in charge of figuring out a solution. So put yourself in a spot to figure out the best solution. Don't just freak out and do something. So
yeah, I really like your strategy there, like creating a third option. Because when the problem initially happens, if you're just thinking like, oh crap, like you're just going to be stressed out and you're never even going to be thinking clearly on the right course of action. Like I think maybe it was about a month ago, there's the Facebook apocalypse or whatever they said. Yeah. And like I was faced with the same thing. I only looked at it as a and B. I was just like, do I turn off my ads or leave them running? And I just came to the conclusion, I'm like, maybe my ads are running fine still. I'm on Facebook. A lot of people aren't. Maybe we'll still make a sale at the end of the day. So if it goes really bad, well, then I'll contact Facebook and, hey, give us our money back or whatever. I don't know. I'll figure it out if something actually bad happens. But we just left them running. Nothing bad happened. I don't remember if we made a sale that day or not, but, it's fixed within 24 hours. Everything came back and it wasn't that big of an issue. But us being marketers in a lot of Facebook groups, you could see the noise, people just freaking out, being like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? And all that stuff. I think one thing with chatbots for me is knowing that, they do go up and like off and on quite a bit because it's a newer thing. So I kind of do like more omni marketing. So I'll collect the email and phone number first and then get them into the bot because I know bots are amazing. But, if that goes down, then we still have email and their phone number. We can still market to them if we really need to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. It's understanding what you're working with, like if you set your own expectations correct that, hey, Facebook might go down sometimes, chatbots might go down sometimes, ClickFunnels might go down sometimes. If you have that expectation in your brain already, like, you're not going to think it's a life and death situation when it happens because you were ready for it. So
yeah, like technology, it fails all the time. So if you just kind of, be happy because it is working instead of just freaking out when it, stuff kind of hits the fan.
Yeah, and especially as marketers, if you're a marketer and you have clients you're working with, a lot of people, I think you get so caught up in this mindset that, like, if Facebook goes down, it's a reflection on you, or if a chatbot goes down, it's a reflection on your ability to market. And I think it's so important for us as marketers to reposition ourselves in our head, and even conversations with our client, that we are not we're not masters, and we're not fortune tellers. We're not guaranteeing that Facebook can do anything, but what we can guarantee is that we know how to navigate any situation. And so if you refigure out that your job isn't perfection every day, your job is, like, to help navigate where things are going and navigate decisions around online marketing, it's really a different conversation. It's like, your job is literally to figure out what to do when the ads go down. Your job isn't to make sure ads are running when they go down. Like, that's just failure. So
Yeah, I totally understand that. And maybe the client doesn't even realize there is a problem, we see it, but maybe it's not even a big deal to them.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like, people don't mind problems, but as marketers, we talk about things like open loops. And when you introduce a problem to a client and you say, hey, Facebook went down today, if that's all you tell them, you're going to look, the reason they're going to get anxious is because they don't trust you. It's because you just said, hey, there's unresolved issues.
Yeah.
And if you just go up to somebody and say, hey, your house is on fire, like,
yeah,
okay. But if you say, hey, your house is on fire, I already called 911, I already got the pets out, and we're waiting for, we cleared out as much as we could, and we're just keeping an eye on things to make sure it doesn't spread until fire trucks get here. Like, nobody's going to trust you less because you're making a rational decision. Hey, Facebook is down today. We can't shut off the ads entirely because otherwise Facebook will lose all the data it's been building up in those campaigns. But what we did do is we killed off some that were already performing bad, and we scaled back some of the ad spend in anything that we didn't think would mess up the long-term success of our campaigns. So sales will be down. There's not a lot we can do about it. But this is what we've already done, and this is how we see it being reconciled. And no good client, no reasonable client is going to sit there and go, why did you let Facebook go down? Like, they're going to say, awesome. I would have no idea what to do. Like,
yeah,
I'm glad I can trust you that you have a clue. And
yeah. I really love the way you put that in the analogy there, because it's so true. Like, if you can put it that way, like you said, any reasonable person will be like, thank you for letting me know. And it's building back on, like, that relationship, right? It's building that trust between, two people.
Yeah, nobody hires you to give them more issues.
Yeah, exactly. It's about managing the issues, right? And
Okay.
helping out. Well, if maybe for the people who are watching this, maybe they're out, like, pulling their hair, like, how can I, market my business online? Maybe they're like a local business, a realtor, or just anyone trying to, build like an online presence. Do you have, like, 2 or 3 tips how they could get started and, building a solid online presence?
Yeah, I think nowadays there's a big move of people really wanting to connect with people in brands. So I think step number 1 is be consistent with putting yourself out there and, showing the humanity of your brand. If you personally don't like being on camera, there are other ways to do it. I don't think you can. It's tough if you really are against being in front of a camera, but I think being consistent with showing that you are humans in your brand and that there's a personality there. because people trust people. So consistently put out stuff that shows there are people in what you're doing. I think another thing is take some time and understand kind of two things. Understand what actually engages your audience, the stuff that your audience likes to talk about, and really focus on figuring out how to nurture your audience online. If it's ads, figure out where your warm audiences are and what types of content and offers work for your warm audience. I think in a Facebook world nowadays, it's getting increasingly, it's not anywhere near impossible to have positive ROI on your marketing, but it can be trickier. And the one thing, though, that's going to set up your business for success after Facebook's gone is investing right now in understanding the conversations that your audience likes having. And so figure out like your middle funnel strategy, not just like the finding new customers, but everybody who's in between hearing about you and buying something, which is usually a massive amount of people. Figure out how to have more conversations, build more trust, and build more relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
I think figuring out how to do that is going to set up your business to be really successful in the long term, and that's going to translate to every platform, any platform that ever comes up. If you understand that, you're going to be able to crush it. So I think those are probably the two biggest things for me right now in today's world.
Yeah, I really like that. Like the middle of the funnel, it's not like the most glamorous part of the marketing process, but my opinion, it is this like most important. It's the foundation of a long-term business online. In my opinion, like it's great to get new customers, make the sales, but it's how you nurture these people. And I mean people, not just leads, not just customers, they are people. That's super important. And you don't know, like they could be 2 years away before making a huge sale on your business. They could be your best customer. You don't know that. And having the conversations that they're already having doesn't just have to be about your business. It could be, what your audience watches on TV or something like that. I posted about my birthday the other day, and I didn't think that post was going to do so well. I didn't really have content. People are just like, oh, happy birthday, blah, blah, blah. Like, I shared a bit of my story, and they're just like, wow, like, really relate to that and all that stuff. And
yeah, it's funny. People tend to put most of their effort into trying to convince people that they own the business or like that they're good in their business. People by default assume you're the expert because you have the business. So it's like, why not make sure you're intentional about sharing all the other parts about you? Like people fall in love with you because they saw you at the high school basketball game because they realized you had a kid. Like that's what makes them really like you. Or they saw you post something about the Super Bowl, or they saw that you're a mountain biker. Like figuring out how to have conversations that aren't just business, like that's what makes people fall in love with you.
Yeah, you got to build that rapport, right? I take a picture from my Instagram of a book I'm reading. People are like, "Oh, I love that book." They DM me, and like we start like a little back and forth conversation. We're not talking for days, whatever, but start of just chatting, and next thing you know, those people like everything I post.
100%.
Well, before I ask my last question here, Matt, before we get into the super deep question, where can everybody find you online?
Cool. You can find me just about anywhere. I would love it. Hit me up on Instagram. Everything is at Matthew R. Timms. And then YouTube is, I think it's Matthew Timms Marketing.
Okay.
And or my website, MatthewTimms.com. Any of those places, hit me up. I try to keep on top of all the messages, but Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, I'm Matthew R. Timms, just about everywhere.
Awesome. I'll make sure I post that in the description and stuff, and everyone can come check you out. So my super deep question, what does success look like for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. For me, so I'm a teacher, and so my success is always based on the growth of other people. And so for me, the thing that excites me the most and that I consider to be successful is when somebody I'm working with gets to a new level, when they grow a certain way. Like if I'm teaching somebody how to play guitar, the thing that I think is successful is when they're growing and they realize how much they're growing. Or in business, if you're making right decisions and you are growing, like I think that is successful. Like you're either growing or you're dying. You're either improving or you're getting worse. And so for me, success is like you're keeping yourself in the right direction. And like, not to oversimplify it, but like so many people in, I think, life in general, like you just get blown away, blown by the wayside and change directions. And one day you're an actor and the next day you're a plumber and then the next day you're a 7-figure entrepreneur and the next day, like whatever, you're changing every single day. And so for me, success is just staying the course and just continually growing and staying steady with what you're doing. And, you know, it's tough. It's absolutely hard. And especially when it looks day after day after day, like you're not getting anywhere in whatever you're doing. But if you are staying steady and you're growing and you're enjoying what you're doing, like I consider that to be the greatest form of success.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, you have a way of putting things. I really admire, and yeah, I think like part of it is like loving the journey of what you're doing, right? And really believing in what you're trying to do and how you want to take action on this in this crazy planet, right? But anyways, Matt, it was honestly, it was amazing getting to know you, finally meeting you, and I really value the insight that you brought to these questions. I think some of them might have some people would have just given like a generic answer, but I feel like you really were personal, gave some good examples of your real life, and shared some really good knowledge. I can definitely see that teacher side of you really coming out a bit in the interview.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
All right, Matt, but it was nice talking to you, but we got to go. So we'll just say goodbye to everybody, and we'll make sure that they get all your information in the link below.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.